Some say you should never kick someone when they're down. Auckland obviously haven't heard that one. That made it 5-1, the worst loss in 3 seasons by Newcastle.
Just forget about it really and just we'll concentrate on training and try and work for next week.
Mick Breen actually scored the only highlight for Newcastle last night, banging home his first ever NSL goal.
It was good to get it, but nice little tap-in, bread and butter ones. But yeah, it sort of took the gloss off it with the loss.
That made things 3-1 after the visitors were down 2-0 at half-time, but Newcastle had plenty of chances for more. In fact, United had more shots on goal in the game than the Kings, but couldn't capitalise. Auckland, on the other hand, just couldn't miss. After Tim Stevens scored a double in the first half, Paul Erlovich fired home 2 in the second. While it was a sorry trip for Peter Sakanis, who played just 12 minutes due to a head knock, it was a terrible return home for former Kiwi international Chris Zorisic. The defender was involved in a mix-up that led to the Kings' opening goal. Soon after, he was booked, and if that wasn't bad enough, he also missed a good chance in front of goal before half-time. And today, his coach said he's looking for new players.
For Junction Primary School students and their parents, it's become an all too familiar scenario. Arriving at school on Monday morning to yet again find graffiti sprayed on classrooms, glass repairers replacing 12 smashed windows and their playground sunshades slashed.
They are upset by it because they feel that they are being personally imposed on or violated as a result of mindlessness of people who really have nothing better to do.
Pretty bad and pretty sad.
There seems to have been an increase in drunken, loutish behaviour on the streets.
Another example on Saturday night when an ugly brawl between 20 drunken revellers and police near Newcastle's Union Lane ended with 5 people arrested. It's alleged during the inner city brawl, police were punched, kicked, pelted with rocks and spat on, officers retaliating with capsicum spray. Police are now planning several blitzes at city clubs and pubs next week.
We'll certainly be targeting some licensees, there's no doubt about that. A lot of licensees are very responsible and very reasonable people doing a good job. But there are a few that are allowing people to consume far too much alcohol, and these people take that out onto the streets with them.
Vanessa Trezise, NBN News.
Shame to be a fighter pilot in the Air Force to fight for or do something for this country, but when you got mugs like this around that are going to rip off people.
Hunter Health says not one of the 336 elderly residents of Allendale will be forced out, nor will there be any bed losses under privatisation. They're just two of the terms for any new owner.
That's a fact, guaranteed fact.
The Health Service says the jobs of 380 employees are also safe. It claims the decision to sell Allendale was based on the fact the centre will receive more federal government funding if it's owned by a non-profit organisation.
It's quite appropriate for us at times to partner with the private sector, to partner with the not-for-profit sector. If that gives a better outcome for people here in the Hunter, then why not?
Hunter Health denies it's a move towards centralisation, but has foreshadowed a similar sell-off of its Muswellbrook aged care facility. The service won't speculate on how much it's asking for the centre. Organisations have until January 30 to lodge submissions. Vanessa Trezise, NBN News.
With names like Kelvin Kirko, Steve Anderson and Kevin Walsh taking part, the championship reads like a who's who of Australian bowls. But it doesn't matter who's playing in these interstate clashes, it's always going to be tough, with rivalry as strong as ever.
That doesn't come any higher than this, and I've had the opportunity to look around the world of players, and I've never seen a higher standard than you'll see these made on this week.
Australian number one Steve Glasson has switched camps this year, with the Queenslander now based in Sydney and the Blues team, and most expecting to help the home side win its third successive title.
Well, I can't see any stopping it.
A friendly dig by the Blues camp, but the Queenslanders haven't come all this way to leave empty-handed.
We're going to be there, and if they slip up, boy, we'll be right there behind them.
The 4 teams of 4 play 2 tests tomorrow, with the third and final set down for Wednesday. In the warm-up games today, New South Wales narrowly beat the local zone 76-75, while Queensland downed the state reserves 81-73.
Before the recently defeated green waste power plant proposal by Energy Equipment Australia, site owner Ian McDonald was talking residential and commercial development. And now he's doing so again, telling Lake Macquarie Council last night about plans for around 250 residential units and 12,000 square metres of commercial space in the station itself, plus a motel, 60-lot subdivision and small boat access and storage elsewhere on the site.
Most of the ideas are very good. The residential component's excellent, I think. The potential for some sort of tourist, perhaps hotel style that could bring visitors into the area and jobs are good.
While the plans are preliminary and the Mayor's reaction positive, there is one concern.
They're looking to have commercial and office, shops and office that's bigger than Belmont and about half the size of Charlestown Square, which does seem a bit out of kilter for that area.
For the development to proceed, the site would have to be rezoned from power station to mixed use. Council will discuss that next Monday. Colin Baldwin, NBN News.
They're a pair of unlikely suburban heroes. Matthew Power and Adam Morris were today recognised for their brave efforts chasing a couple of car thieves on their BMXs through Warrabrook earlier this year.
They were acting like hooligans and just being pretty crazy in the car, so we decided to follow them and call the police and actually help them in apprehending them.
The young men were among those honoured in a special police award ceremony in Broadmeadow today. 11 officers from the Waratah Command receiving certificates for bravery. After 4 months on the job, Senior Constable Luke Briggs found himself wrestling with a car thief armed with a knife before arresting him.
Bit of excitement, I guess. It's good fun. It's what I've always wanted to do, and come in a situation like this, it's really good to help out.
Vanessa Trezise, NBN News.
In agricultural circles, winning the Farmer of the Year award is something to aim for. This year, Brett and Linda Keeping achieved that aim, awarded for their management and production at Inglewood Vineyards at Denman.
Everybody works really hard, so it's nice to get some recognition for all the hard work.
It was no easy task for the judge though, with all the categories, including beef, dairy, turf and turkey production, up against each other for the top prize.
Good business management. On top of that, it's all the extra things that farming requires with being able to manage the climate and the environment and all those extra things that come into it.
But after assessing the 400-hectare vineyards run by about 30 employees in the Hunter Valley, Brett and Linda came out on top for their wine under the Two Rivers and Inglewood Vineyards labels.
Brett's very hard-working. He loves the vineyard. He's taken to it so well. And yes, it's a great honour for him and for us and the whole team back there.
The company also won the Irrigation Management Award and was named the Hunter Vigneron of the Year. The Keepings have also won a trip to anywhere in the world to undertake more agricultural research.
France or somewhere where we can study some more areas of viticulture.
Catherine Turner, NBN News. Queensland beat the New South Wales reserves yesterday, but the top side from the home state had the last laugh today. In the first test this morning, the Blues hardly put a foot wrong, defeating Queensland convincingly 103 shots to 71, winning 3 rinks to 1. Ranked number 1 in Australia, Steve Glasson captained his team to an impressive 35-11 victory. Charlestown's Sam Lagutsa also in winning form. And the Blues continued to apply the pressure in the second test, Steve Anderson and Rex Johnson's teams posting strong results against the Maroons, 24-20 and 22-13 respectively. Queensland was once again outplayed by a 3 rinks to 1 margin, 82-70. The Blues have now won the 3-test match series for the past 4 years, and the team's youth has played a decent part in their success. Queensland will be playing for pride in the third and final test tomorrow. Catherine Turner, NBN News.
The Bardacus family run the Pegasus Cafe in Union Street. They claim on Saturday night 3 intoxicated customers went berserk.
My daughter-in-law called the police 3 times. Managed to throw these guys out a few times. They kept coming in, kept jumping in, throwing punches, throwing kicks. Things were going everywhere. Finally, I sat on top of this guy, waited till the police turned up.
During a struggle with one of the men, a fridge door was smashed. Police say they were at the scene within 5 minutes, but decided against laying charges.
Some of that pushing and shoving was by both parties, and therefore we elected to give advice to take civil action so that it could be thrashed out in a court of law without the police appearing to be showing favouritism one way or the other.
And I was always under the impression that you call the police when somebody does something wrong. Seems they seem to have more rights. They can come in here, smash the place up, it's not a problem. Police say, too much paperwork.
It's a case that again raises the question of the rights of business owners to use physical force against people they believe are a threat to safety and property.
Vanessa Trezise, NBN News.
And part of that EIS should be an examination of the heritage of the site.
Mark Power may have walked away from a conviction brought against him by his employer today, but the City Rail worker charged with malicious damage for removing what he believed was a damaged camera says the experience has left him bitter.
They wanted to get a scapegoat for a politically motivated balls up, for want of a better description.
City Rail suspended the acting station manager in February this year after footage captured him removing a surveillance camera at Sandgate Railway Station. He's been fighting the case through the courts ever since, and today was acquitted of the charge after a Newcastle magistrate ruled there was insufficient evidence to prove the act was malicious. The 36-year-old Thornton man was not awarded costs and is doubtful of an apology from the company he joined 19 years ago.
There's 3 ways to do things, dear. The right way, the wrong way and the railway. I don't think that'll happen.
Despite the ordeal, Mr Power wants to go back to his job, even though it's exacted an emotional toll.
I'm glad it's all over, and I just want to go home and forget that it ever happened.
The United Front is a far cry from the Breakers debacle, and now the corporate world is fighting to get on board.
For the next few months, we're going to be working together as a major sponsor and owner of the club, going towards seeing if we can get our team in front.
Part of the NBN family, Kui is a telecommunications company devoted to regional internet and telephone service. It has pledged $300,000 worth of advertising support through its television sister.
NBN has reaffirmed that commitment to local sport and, combined with Kui, has pledged the support of the Newcastle United in the season ahead.
15,000 turned up for United's first home game at Marathon, a crowd that was applauded around the nation. They were greeted with a loss, but Coach Sterry says fans should stick with this team that's yet to hit its straps.
The way the team will perform this year, I've still got no doubts about where we'll be by semi-final time.
This Friday night's home game is against Parramatta, and after United was flogged by Auckland last week, there is work to be done in attack and defence. Travis Dodds is hoping fans will take advantage of shuttle bus services to help provide the support they need.
You go on the attack and you get the crowd cheering you on, making you go that extra yard. It's just a great boost.
As a competitor in the World Rally Championship, Michael Guest is accustomed to living out of a suitcase. But today he was packing his bags for the event he's been looking forward to all year, Rally Australia.
I've always wanted to go and do my home World Championship event in the ultimate car or World Rally car, and it's just around the corner now.
For the last two events, Guest and navigator David Green have been trying to get up to speed with their new Hyundai Accent and in unfamiliar territory. Perth, however, has been a happy hunting ground in the past.
That's one thing I really don't have to worry about. The main thing is to have a good test on Saturday, get comfortable with the car, confident, working with the engineers, and then I'll be right to go and do the rally.
In fact, Guest leaves tomorrow for almost a full week of testing and reconnaissance before the rally starts next Thursday. A good result will be essential. It's his last scheduled event with Hyundai, and his sponsor is about to withdraw from rallying.
That makes it pretty difficult for me for next year at the moment, so really not focusing on that too much and just concentrating on what I need to do for Rally Australia and how I need to drive there.
Colin Baldwin, NBN News.
In a sport where drivers often don't get the recognition they deserve, the Young Bloods Challenge is a chance for the Hunter Region's juniors to stake their claim as the best of the best.
Trying to make a future out of this sport and to make it at representative level is everyone's aim in sport.
Clayton Harmey, Ben Dilly, Philip Jackson, Adam Regari and Rodney Atkins will be competing in the 2,030-metre event on the 25th of this month. Just reward for years of hard work.
In the last 6 years I've never been away from the horses, no holidays, no nothing, so it's been a lot of work. I work them 7 days a week, I'm full time with them.
Meanwhile, as the busiest racing period of the year approaches, Harness Club patrons are being asked to dig deep and support Mission Australia's Christmas appeal.
We're going to ask all of our patrons coming to the Paceway in November and December to bring one item of food to fill the Christmas stocking, and we'll give it to Mission Australia for their appeal at Christmas time, and I'm sure we can fill it several times over.
There's also calls for support for the Christmas lunch in the park.
Expecting this year about 650, 700 people. It's a great gathering, and certainly to get as much support as we can from the community will be very encouraging for us.
Brooke Webster, NBN News.
Police, councillors and business owners met today behind closed doors to discuss growing crime levels in Raymond Terrace. They believe large gangs of youths are responsible for late-night robberies and vandalism, and there's little police can do.
Law enforcement is a state issue, but it's obviously not working. So now council is becoming involved in it. It's our citizens, it's our streetscape, it's our towns that are being terrorised in this way.
The council will now apply to enact special child protection legislation, giving police the power to arrest youths under 16 and return them to their parents. But it's the kids in question who say they've become the victims of police.
Sprayed me the other night, just walking home from fishing. Come up, bailed us up in the football ovals, sprayed us. No reason at all.
They get the wrong kids. There's not many bad kids in Raymond Terrace, and if there is, they're not bad at all. You shut your mouth.
The organisers of today's meeting said they couldn't allow the media to take part because some of the business owners present feared reprisals should they be known to be involved in the crime-fighting process. In the meantime, businesses like the Vodafone store will keep their doors bolted. Paul Lobb, NBN News. First there was Wild Thing, the Aussie Destroyer and Torres, then Lunatic, and now Tropical Thunder.
Well, it's a fully blown injected 572 cubic inch Chevy motor. It's actually back in the front of the truck, not the rear of the truck like Lunatic. So I think this truck is more of a distance jumping truck where it doesn't go quite as high as the others. It certainly goes a lot further.
The Monster Truck Show is back at Tomago this Saturday night with Tropical Thunder as the star attraction. For the Butler family, monster trucks are a way of life.
We've now been going nearly 5 years. We started off 5 years ago just with one monster truck and a motorcycle jump, and now we've got 6 trucks and all this stuff, the stuff that you see when you come and see the show. So yeah, it certainly has grown over the years.
The show starts at 7 o'clock Saturday.
I mean, I've been a lot worse. I mean, it was only 45 knots, but yeah, it's a sign of things to come, I think. Keep thinking back to the 98 Hobart and thinking, oh no, I hope I don't get another one of them.
How are you feeling, Tony?